Hi, my name is Sean and I'm a sound designer. Today I'll be taking an in-depth look at the sound design that I did for Bentley's Hack Pack. This is a PSN title that was released early 2013 alongside Sly Cooper's Thieves in Time. To tell you a little bit about the game, Bentley's Hack Pack is a collection of mini-games wrapped up in an arcade package. These mini-games originally appear in the Thieves in Time game and are presented to the player when the character Bentley has to hack certain computers within the game. They are equivalent to the mini-hacking games that you find in other titles such as BioShock or Fallout 3, but I think these Hack Pack games are a lot more in-depth and a lot more fun. So all these sounds that you hear are sounds that I created and implemented into the game using Sony's proprietary middleware Scream. Scream is similar to other audio middleware such as WYs in that it allows the sound designer to use sound randomization, pitch modifiers, and a whole bunch of other features to help immerse the player in the experience. This is an important aspect of sound design, and I'll go into why a little bit later. So I was brought onto this project while fulfilling an internship at Sony PlayStation. It was a great experience to learn all about game audio and creating sounds, implementing them through middleware, and calling the sounds through scripting the code. It was also really fun to work alongside a handful of veteran sound designers. Right now we're sitting outside of Bentley's arcade, which is an awesome ode to Flynn's from Tron if you didn't already notice. As the camera moves around the scene, we can see and hear the shenanigans of various characters from the Sly Cooper universe. The sequences that are taking place are random, and during development we refer to them as vignettes. To tell you a little bit about the basic process of getting sounds into the game, I'm going to focus on the sounds of the busy cars zooming by in the streets. The first time I saw these cars, they reminded me of Mr. Bean, so I just dug through Sony's sound library and found some older car recordings that I thought would make a great match. I pulled the sounds into Pro Tools and changed the speed, pitch, and added post-processing to make them sound more cartoony and fun. I made a handful of these and implemented them into a sound bank within Scream. I set the sound banks to play the sounds randomly and also added a little pitch variety so no two cars would sound alike, and then I scripted them into sound cues to be called as soon as the cars started animating within the scene. This was the general approach to most of the sounds in the Hack Pack, but some of the characters like the Meth Wolf were more complicated because I added a bunch of layers to really make them sound awesome. So I'm going to hang out here and let the camera kind of switch around the views so we can just hear some of the different sounds that are out here in the outdoorsy environment. Let's go inside the arcade and see what's going on inside. Accept. So I was told to make this feel like an old school arcade room. I spent a lot of time in the arcades growing up, so I knew the ambience I was going after. I used an ambient background from our arcade that I found in the Sony sound library, but then I wanted to make sure that there were some beeps and boops added in. So what I did was I took some synth sounds and layered the beeps to play randomly, and I also randomized the time before certain beeps would play again so that the sounds would sometimes overlap each other. This helps to create a more busy atmosphere, and it goes back to that immersion thing that I brought up earlier. As a content creator, I want my audience to be immersed in the game as much as possible. Sound designers use randomization, pitch shifting, and other tricks to great effect in order to help drive agency for the player. The reason why this helps is that as human beings, we love to categorize information. We love to find patterns in the world in order to help us better understand it, and we're really good at this. If a player hears repetition in the sound, they immediately are pulled out of the experience. Pulled out of the experience. Pulled out of the experience. See what I mean? An easy example of this is to ask yourself, how long would you want to play a shooter if every shot from the machine gun sounded the same? By using randomization, a sound designer can create a more organic sounding atmosphere and thus deliver a better experience to the player. Moving on to some of the character sounds, each character goes through several animation sets, which includes a few standard playing animations, and then a win animation and a lose animation. I want to take a look at Mechwolf first, who's this character on the right. He was the first character I created sounds for, and probably the most complex as well. Mechwolf is made up from various mechanical and hydraulic sounds. He has a lot of layers to him, and it was a lot of fun to help bring him to life. You can hear his head moving back and forth, and the hydraulics in his legs when he raises and lowers. Each part of the Mechwolf has its independent sound cues that are randomized, so every time he steps left or right, the player hears a mechanical sound for his body, his head, and the hydraulic sounds of the legs, and a different metal clunk for each footstep. I scripted each sound cue to be called at the appropriate time for each animation. This is done by playing the game in debug mode and slowly stepping through the character animations while making note of the timing. I did the same thing for this baboon that's on the left here, that's riding in his car that's obviously too small for him. For his general back and forth movement of the car, I used a pogo stick combined with a bed screen mattress. For the shaking sound that happens after he hits the car, I use the sounds of bumper cars running into each other and some hydraulic sounds when he goes into the gangster lowrider animation. His sounds were also pretty fun to design. So the 3 mini-games are located at various arcade machines around the room. We wanted the player to hear the sounds of the individual arcade cabinets as they move through the scene. To do this, we had to lower the volume of certain sounds within the scene so that the player wasn't too distracted by all the sounds playing at once. We did this by implementing mixed states for each camera angle, so some of the sounds were turned down and others turned up depending on the camera's position. When we go into this view, you can hear some music coming from the arcade cabinet in front of us. The music has a high-pass filter applied, so it sounds like it's a few feet away from us. When we click into the arcade machine to play the game, the high-pass filter comes off and we can hear the music for this particular game. So right now I'm going to play this mini-game. This is the Alter Ego game. What you do is you play each of these mini-games and you collect coins by completing certain objectives within the mini-game. You then use those coins to buy certain trophies and prizes at the prize bar. These games are a little harder than they appear. Even for level 1, sometimes I really botch it, so I'll try my best to do good here. Luckily these levels don't last too long. So I can get this free man down here. Slide head.
These nanobots are swarming! I better blast them or stay out of their way!
As you get points and grab these like power-ups, you start gaining levels within the game, and you unlock missile launchers and all sorts of stuff that helps you shoot and kill stuff a lot better. This game is reminiscent of Life Force or Gradius. It's pretty fun. So that's just one of the levels. I can only assume that they get really hard. I haven't made it that far. So I'm gonna go to the prize bar and see if I can spin these coins. So I have enough to buy the first box, and these are just for fun. You can unlock all these little trinkets that kind of explain some of the objects that occur in the Sly Cooper universe that have been in each previous game. There's a secret behind here that I'm not going to spoil. Anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Feel free to email me at sbklauser@gmail.com, and I'd love to hear from you. Thanks.